The wind howled across the icy plains of Betrayal 7, slicing through the dense fog like invisible blades. Thick layers of frost blanketed jagged rocks, their crystalline forms shimmering under the pale blue light of twin moons. A lone figure trudged through the frozen wasteland, boots crunching against the brittle surface. Dr. Elara Voss, a medic from Earth, pulled her thermal hood tighter, her breath creating swirling clouds of vapor. "This place gives me the creeps," she muttered, glancing at the scanner in her hand. Her AI assistant, Kai, responded through her earpiece. "You're approximately 2.3 kilometers off course, Dr. Voss. The distress signal you tracked was not from this quadrant." Elara sighed. "Figures. But something's here, I can feel it." A flicker on her scanner's screen. Faint, but undeniable. A life signature. Weak, but present. She followed the signal, weaving between towering ice spires that looked like the skeletal remains of ancient beasts. As she neared the source, a low whimpering pierced the cold silence. "What?" Elara's heart raced. She crouched low behind a ridge and peered over. In a shallow crater, half buried beneath frost, lay three small creatures, wolf-like but alien. Their fur shimmered with iridescent hues, crystalline spikes running along their spines. Their breath was ragged, frost clinging to their snouts. "They're pups," Elara whispered, her hands trembling. "Kai, are you seeing this?" Analyzing. "These life forms are unknown to existing databases. Vital signs are dangerously low." Elara slid down into the crater, the icy ground cracking beneath. One of the pups raised its head weakly, its luminous violet eyes meeting hers. "It's okay, little one," she cooed, pulling out her thermal blanket. "I've got you." But then a deep guttural growl echoed from the mist. Elara froze, her eyes darting around. "Kai, what was that?" Unidentified life form approaching. Massive. 50 meters and closing. Elara's mind raced. Was this a trap? She scooped up the smallest pup, its body limp but warm against her chest. The others whimpered, curling closer together. The fog thickened. Shapes moved within, hulking, distorted forms with glowing eyes. "This is getting wild." Elara's pulse pounded in her ears. "Kai, give me options." "Retreat is 68% chance of failure. Nearest safe zone is 1.9 kilometers northeast." A flash of light cut through the fog. A shimmering portal, swirling with blue and gold energy. "Elara!" a voice called from beyond. Familiar. She hesitated. Who opened that portal? And why now? The growling deepened, vibrations pulsing through the ground. "Time to decide," Elara whispered, clutching the pup tighter. Would she risk the unknown portal? Or face whatever monsters lurked in the mist? Elara's boots slipped on the ice as she bolted towards the shimmering portal, clutching the alien pup against her chest. The ground trembled beneath her, each footstep feeling heavier as the growls behind her grew louder. "Kai, analyze that." "Portal, is it stable?" she gasped, her breath fogging in the freezing air. "Energy readings are fluctuating, but it appears stable. For now," Kai responded. A massive shadow emerged through the fog. A towering creature, its jagged exoskeleton glistening with frost, 6 glowing eyes locked onto Elara. It let out an earth-shaking roar, causing shards of ice to rain down from above. Elara didn't look back. She sprinted, heart hammering, as the portal's swirling light reflected in the crystalline surface beneath her feet. "Just a little further," she whispered, glancing at the pup cradled in her arms. Its eyes flickered open briefly, glowing violet, and a soft hum escaped its throat. The air grew heavier, thicker, as if gravity itself was fighting her. Her legs strained as she pushed forward. Suddenly a voice echoed from the portal again, clearer this time. "Elara, hurry, it's closing." "Who is that?" she demanded. "I am unable to identify the source," Kai replied, tension in his synthetic voice. A loud crack split the ice beneath her, creating a jagged chasm. Elara leaped, barely clearing the gap as shards of ice splintered into the abyss below. She reached the edge of the portal, its swirling energy pulsing like a living thing. Without hesitation, she stepped through. For a moment, Everything dissolved into blinding light. Then, she stumbled onto soft ground, nearly collapsing as the portal snapped. Shut behind her with a thunderous crack, the pup whimpered weakly in her arms. Elara! A figure rushed towards her, a man in a deep blue suit, visor gleaming. He pulled off his helmet, revealing sharp features and bright green eyes. Who? Elara began, still panting. It's me, Riven. From the Helios outpost. You don't... Remember? Her mind swirled. She had heard that name before, but when? I tracked your signal when it went off course, Riven continued, glancing at the pup in her arms. But I wasn't expecting that. Elara stood, still shaky. What are these creatures? Why were they left there to die? Riven's face darkened. Because they're dangerous. Those pups, they're not just animals, they're linked to the Hive, the species that nearly wiped out an entire colony last cycle. Elara looked down at the fragile creature in her arms. It gazed up at her with innocent, violet eyes. Could something so small really be that dangerous? But they're just babies, she whispered. Riven nodded grimly. And that's when they're the most unpredictable. The pup hummed again, and for a fleeting second, Elara felt something, a thought, brush against her mind. Was it trying to communicate? She shivered. Riven, what if we've been wrong about them? He frowned. What are you saying? I think it just spoke to me. Silence stretched between them, heavy and filled with questions neither dared ask. But one thought echoed loudly. In Elara's mind, what if saving this pup changes everything? The air around Elara buzzed with tension. Riven stared at her, disbelief flickering across his face. It spoke to you? He repeated, his voice low and skeptical. Elara nodded slowly. Not in words. More like a feeling. A thought. It was scared. But there was something else. The pup nestled against her chest, its soft hum growing stronger. Its crystalline fur shimmered with iridescent colors, shifting like liquid light. Riven glanced at the tiny creature warily. Elara, if the Hive finds out you took one of their pups, I didn't have a choice, she snapped, her eyes flashing. They were freezing to death. Someone left them there on purpose. Riven sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. You think this was some kind of trap? Elara hesitated. Maybe, but why leave them exposed like that? It doesn't add up. The pup stirred again, its violet eyes locking onto hers. A sudden wave of warmth spread through her body, a strange sensation in the cold, alien air. Images flashed in her mind. Towering beings of crystal, vast forests made of shimmering ice and destruction, fire, screams. She staggered, nearly dropping the pup. Elara! Riven lunged forward, steadying her. What's happening? She gasped, clutching her head. I saw something. A memory? Maybe from the pup? Kai's voice buzzed in her earpiece. Neurological readings are spiking. It appears there's a psychic link forming between you and the life form. A link? Riven echoed, wide-eyed. Elara's breathing slowed as the images faded. They weren't abandoned. They were sacrificed, left behind because they were different. Different. How? She looked at the pup, which now glowed faintly in her arms. I think they can connect with us, communicate, maybe even understand us. Riven paced in front of her, processing. If that's true, Elara, then this changes everything. The Hive was always seen as hostile, but if there's more to them... A low rumble interrupted him. The ground beneath them vibrated, and in the distance the sky split open with a jagged streak of lightning. Ki's voice crackled. Energy surge detected. Multiple life forms inbound. Hive scouts approaching fast. Riven cursed. We need to get out of here. Now. Elara held the pup tighter. No. If they're coming, maybe I can reach them. Are you insane? They'll tear us apart. But before he could pull her away, a shimmering figure emerged from the shadows. Tall, elegant, with crystalline armor that pulsed with light. Its eyes glowed the same violet as the pup's. It spoke, not in words, but in Elara's mind. You carry what was forsaken. You see beyond the divide. Elara took a trembling step forward. Why were they left to die? The figure tilted its head. Weakness is not tolerated. Those who connect are cast out. Her heart ached. But they're just pups. They are more than you know. Riven raised his weapon, but Elara stopped him with a glance. We need to understand them, Riven. This could be the first real chance at peace. The figure's form flickered as more shadows moved in behind it. Dozens of similar beings, their forms half hidden in the mist. Elara's pulse raced. Was this a beginning or the end? Elara stood frozen, feeling the weight of 100 glowing eyes on her. The crystalline beings surrounded them, their tall, elegant forms shimmering in the mist. Each moved with a fluid grace, as if the very air bent to their will. The puppin, her arms let out a soft hum, its small body trembling. Riven tightened his grip on his weapon. We're surrounded, Elara. We're not getting out of this. The tall figure stepped closer, its violet eyes flickering like embers. You carry the Forsaken, you bridge what has been broken. Elara swallowed hard, keeping her voice steady. I didn't come here to start a war. I found these pups, abandoned, freezing. I couldn't leave them. The being tilted its head, the crystals along its body glowing brighter. You speak of compassion, a trait your kind rarely shows. Riven scoffed under his breath. Great. Now we're being judged by alien wolves. Elara shot him a sharp look. They can hear you, you know. The pup in her arms stirred again, its hum growing stronger. Elara felt that same warmth spread through her chest, connecting her mind to the creature. This time, the images were clearer. Memories of the pup's mother, a towering wolf-like being, shielding her litter from an attack. Flashes of fire, collapsing ice, and then abandonment. Her throat tightened. You left them because they could connect to others, like me. The figure's crystalline features seemed to ripple, almost like a sigh. Those who bond with outsiders are seen as weak. They risk the Hive's purity. Elara's hands clenched. That's not weakness, it's strength, the ability to understand others. That's how peace starts. The ground trembled again, but this time, it wasn't the approaching Hive. It was the energy radiating from the pup. Its body glowed with a blinding light, and Elara felt her mind being pulled deeper into the connection. A soft, innocent voice echoed in her thoughts. Safe? Elara's eyes welled with tears. Yes, you're safe now. The figure before her stepped back as if shocked. The other crystalline beings began to hum in unison, their bodies vibrating with the same energy as the pup. Riven's eyes widened. Elara, what's happening? I don't know, she whispered, her heart racing. Suddenly, the ground beneath them split open, revealing a hidden network of crystalline tunnels glowing with the same violet light. The figure gestured toward the opening. The bond has been formed, but with it comes a choice. Elara frowned. What choice? To carry the Forsaken into the core of the Hive, or let them fade into nothingness. Her stomach twisted. You're asking me to take them into your territory? Why? The figure's glow dimmed. Because change can only come from within, and you may be the key. Riven shook his head. Elara, this is madness. It could be a trap. She looked down at the pup, its eyes now filled with hope and fear. Elara's voice trembled. But what if it's not? The crystalline tunnels pulsed beneath them, like veins leading to the heart of an ancient secret. With every step forward, the stakes grew higher.